The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth. What is up, man?
Not much. Same old. I actually have not changed my background too much. I did get rid of Randall Boggs, but I figured that would be better off for the show. So yeah,
it's all good, man. It's all good. So not going to get too much in the weeds here, but the MLB trade deadline is heating up. I've seen a bunch of closers moves already. There's talks that Scherzer and Trey Turner might be on the move. Rizzo and Gallo have already been on the move. There's a lot going on. We may have to have like a special hour show just to break down all these trades, get some of these baseball guys who follow it a little more than you and I are at the moment, because we're kind of neck deep into football. In here and break this all down, because there's a lot. Like, these are some of the biggest names I've seen moved at the trade deadline in years. Like, you always hear about these rumors, but they don't usually ever happen. But wow, I mean, we've all heard about Bryant and Baez possibly be getting traded too. The Cubs are just trying to tear it down and then rebuild it up again. So that'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Again, can't get too much in the weeds. We got a good show ahead of us talking the NFC North. But before we get to it, let's do our beer of the week.
Beer.
All right, man. What you got?
I am working on just now opening this Fegley's Brew Works triple IPA called Hopsalutely. So it's one I got from my buddy DK Nugs, DPC 146. Shout out. Haven't tried it yet, but I'm about to. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. I got myself a newbie too.
Wow. Okay. That's something.
Apparently, your wife thinks Randall made our show, so you got to bring him back. Apparently. Yeah. Anyway, man. I just love the random call outs by her at the very beginning of the show. It lasts about 5 minutes, and then your kid doesn't let it happen anymore.
No.
Or just doesn't care. I get it. Anyway, I'm drinking a new one too. Other half. Again, I got a ton of these in the fridge, so I got to get through them. This one is a Northeast Imperial IPA, 8%er. Don't know much about it. There's not much else on the can. The label's kind of cool. It's like the map of Northeast DC type of thing. So because that's where the brewery is. Other half brewery is in DC there. So it's pretty cool. But let's see what it tastes like.
All right.
Ooh, that's good. That's a good one, man. That's like at least a 4 1/4. I might have to think on that one, but that's a good one, man. All right. Without further ado, let's bring on our guest of honor, Anthony Servino. Been on the show before, but happy to have him back on. He host of the FF Face Off. You see the logos behind him. He's also a contributor to Gridiron Experts as well. So happy to have you on, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing awesome, guys. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So tonight we're going to be talking NFC North. And so how we do this is we start with kind of a basic NFL question, not fantasy related. We'll get to that, and then we're going to go position by position and just kind of rip through the different teams and ask the important questions and let everybody know all the good information they need to know. But let's start with, you know what, AJ? I just totally botched it, and I must have closed the notes. So you asked that first question, man. I got to pull the notes up, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I wrote it, so I guess I might as well read it.
Yes, you should.
So obviously the biggest news coming out of the NFC North was the Aaron saga, all off season long and whatnot. So when it was unknown if he was actually going to be playing for Green Bay, to me it sounded like the division was a little more up for grabs. Maybe Minnesota could have stepped up. Who knows what Chicago and Detroit are doing. But now that Rodgers has finally agreed to play the season, I mean, is there any doubt that Green Bay claims this division title?
No, I'm all in on Green Bay, and that was going to be the case when Aaron Rodgers finally came back. And I don't think it's even close. Green Bay are back-to-back conference championship games. I think the team could be a little bit better this year. I don't know how much Randall Cobb is going to contribute, but in those tougher games, when Aaron Rodgers only trusts Devontae Adams, Cobb's not going to do much in fantasy, but that safety blanket, that chain mover, I think he has one run left, and that's really going to help Green Bay hopefully propel them to a Super Bowl. And you got to forget, they also have Devin Funchess. And in the fantasy community, everybody likes to scoff at Funchess, but he's a big-bodied red zone threat who had his best year in the league with Cam Newton.
Yeah. Yeah, Funchess is kind of like a forgotten guy. I mean, honestly, I didn't even have him on the rankings here. I don't even know if he would have made it high enough anyways because there was so many. Yeah, I mean, there's just when we get to receiver, I mean, there's a ton of names. So, all right, Joe. Well, why don't we lead off here with the quarterback position? We'll break through each position separately, and then talk about each player and where they are at the current ADP.
Yeah, so as AJ alluded to, starting with the quarterback here, we're going to do ADP first. And Aaron Rodgers right now sitting at 8. I expect that to go up probably to like anywhere between the 4 and 5 range, in my opinion. Kirk Cousins is at 16, Justin Fields is at 24, Jared Goff at 30, and then Andy Dalton, just for good measure, at 38. So right back here to Aaron Rodgers, we saw him just explode last year after, to be honest, 2, if not 3 disappointing years. It's hard to count 2017 as a true disappointment because he was hurt. But 2018 and 2019, he threw for 25 and 26 touchdowns. It's not what you expect from Aaron Rodgers. Not even close. But last year, 48. I mean, are we – I know you're not going to predict that he's going to throw 48 again. That's just not going to happen. But, are we expecting more closer to that Aaron Rodgers coming back, or is he going to slip back to 2019, 2018 Aaron Rodgers?
If this is the same Packers team as we've seen under LaFleur in the past 2 seasons and how it all really came together last year for Aaron Rodgers, he found Robert Tonyan out of nowhere. Tonyan, they didn't really have a tight end presence before Robert Tonyan a couple of years ago. And all these, we talked about Funchess. They still have MVS, who I believe led all wide receivers in yards per catch. He popped a few times in DFS or in best ball last year. They have Lazard. They drafted Amari Rodgers. They retained Aaron Jones. Now, the offensive line took a couple of hits, and that does alarm me a little bit, but it's full speed ahead for Aaron Rodgers in this offense. I see another MVP-like year. I don't know if he goes for 48 again, but I think he's going to end his tenure in Green Bay on a really high note.
Yeah, I would err more towards the side of what we saw last year as well. And we've talked about it before in previous years, with Rodgers, that he just seems to have these huge blow up games. And that's like what accounts for a quarter of those touchdown totals almost, 2 of those games. And then he just kind of dinks and dunks and gets some other ones. But last year he was amazing. So the fact that he's back and it's really on his terms, it seems like,
Is it? Is it?
You know,
He didn't get anything he wanted, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's crazy to think that he's not going to be, you know, going for it because he wants to be out. You know, he doesn't want to be there if they're not going to do what he wants them to. They brought back Cobb, you know, like you said, it's a safety net. So I'm interested to see how that pans out. I mean, I don't know. You got anything else to add, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think he's going to drop back down to 25, 26, maybe somewhere in the mid-30s, which is still a very, very good season. You know, you still have to worry about that O-line a little bit. You know, he's been hit a lot, and he's not the most mobile quarterback anymore. He's not the guy who was able to, like, just kind of slip out almost like a Russell Wilson type of deal and get a lot of chunk yardage like that. And everybody knows he wants to favor Devontae Adams, and for good reason. Obviously, you know, Anthony said it too. The tight end help is huge there for them. So I see him being better than he was a couple years ago. And yeah, I think he's fired up. I think he wants to prove everybody wrong. So hopefully he just doesn't become as much of a cocky bastard as he was a few years ago, where he like didn't listen to his coaches at all. But he might, like, it sounds like he's kind of he has that mentality again where he's just going to check off all the plays. And, you know, we saw how much better he was once the new coaching staff came in. So hopefully he still listens to them a little bit.
I don't think Rodgers' gripe is with LaFleur. I think it's with the general manager.
Yeah.
So that you know, a couple of years ago, he wanted McCarthy out.
Yeah.
This time around, he wants Brian Gutekunst out.
Yeah.
It seems like he's okay with Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, I know. That's true. That's true. So, all right, let's move on.
All right, so jumping over to Minnesota, the Vikings here. And speaking of the O-line, it seems like Minnesota's actually upgraded both sides of their line coming into this season. So does that push Kirk Cousins into, you know, more of a borderline QB1 for you?
I think the issue with Kirk Cousins that I have this season is the fact that if we think back to last year going into the season, the Minnesota Vikings, that defense, they lost a lot of pieces. I was already predicting that it was going to be one of the worst Mike Zimmer defenses we've seen, and it really was. They got some of those pieces back, and I think Zimmer's going to put a better defense on the field. I don't know if it's going to be top 10, but it's going to be a lot better than what it was. And Kirk Cousins isn't going to have to pass as much as he did last season. So I don't know if I could put Kirk Cousins on that fringe QB1 tier right now.
Yeah, I can't either. He's in the I don't know, high teens for me right now ranked. I was actually shocked though. I did a little bit of research on some potential stacks that you can hit for season long, which is a tough strategy to do for season long, but you know, I know people like to do it. One of the ones I threw out there is like a cheap stack. I know you can't get the receiver cheap, but Cousins and Jefferson. And I mean, you're getting Cousins for free at this point. He was QB 11 last year. I had no idea. I literally was like, wait, what? You know, I didn't expect it. So look, he's not going to be, you know, I don't even think he's going to be QB 11 again. He's probably going to be QB 15 to 20, you know, but yeah, he'll have some weeks where he's going to blow up. And when he does that with Jefferson, you know, that's going to be a big week for him. And we clearly know that that's going to work, but yeah, I don't see Cousins, you know, getting back to that QB1 range again. I guess the question is worded wrong now that you know that, but I left it there on purpose because I don't think a lot of people knew he was QB 11. I'll be honest.
And I think that directly correlates. Last season, Minnesota allowed the fourth most points per game defensively. The year before that, 2019, Cousins was 16th in fantasy points per game, right where I have him this year, and that defense was top 5 in points allowed.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very, very good point. So
yeah.
Let's move over here to the Detroit Lions, and they got a new QB in town. Obviously, Stafford was traded for Jared Goff. I mean, is he Is he actually getting pushed too far down the rankings at this point? I mean, Goff hasn't been great, but he's been serviceable many, many times. Granted, it was with the Rams and McVay, but I mean, he's downright like basically the last or next to last quarterback being drafted in every draft I'm in, especially even like Superflex is what I'm talking about. So like, I don't know.
First, I want to put this out there. Are we sure it's Goff and not the league is catching up to McVay? Because nobody ever talks about maybe, could it be the league's catching up to what Sean McVay was doing? I believe it's more Goff than anything, but I do think we have to present the other side if we're playing devil's advocate. But yeah, it's like Jared Goff had his really good weeks. Even last season, as bad as he was. And yeah, you're right. He's going as like the in best ball even. He's that last quarterback before the Broncos and Patriots quarterbacks. And it's like...
And even the Saints. And nobody wants any of those guys right now.
Yeah.
They're going to run the ball in Detroit, but how good is that defense going to be? I mean, they're going to be playing from a negative game script. They're cleaning up Matt Patricia's mess, and they're going to have to pass the ball. They have Tyrell Williams and Rashad Perriman. They're both big play receivers. I think there's a little bit of hype going around Amon-Ra St. Brown and a couple of really good running backs, Hawkinson. There's enough here for Jared Goff to have a solid year, to at least outperform his ADP.
Oh, yeah. 100% agree with that. I mean, the guy went to a Super Bowl, and I know we could say, oh, well, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl and blah, blah, blah. And Carson Wentz technically won a Super Bowl ring. We're not even going to talk about BDN here because he's just not even a thing anymore, unfortunately. But I think Goff's getting a little bit of disrespect. And I know the whole talk from this trade was really, oh, well, now Stafford, who loves to throw the deep ball, has all these great receivers, to throw the deep ball to. Okay, yeah, that's great. But Goff was still successful with these guys. And maybe it was some of McVay, rubbing off on him and getting him into that system. But I do think it's an interesting argument to look at, well, maybe the league is starting to catch up with McVay. I think the league started to catch up with Sean Payton, too. If you come down to it, Breeze was still good. He had some injury issues, but, I mean, he wasn't the Drew Brees that we knew the last, 3 years or so, I feel like. But
I don't know if that was. I don't know if
that's necessarily Peyton. But
I don't think that was Peyton.
There was other injuries and other issues around that. But
think about personnel wise with McVay and Goff and the Rams. What is the one big thing that because like the receivers? Okay, Brandon Cook, Sammy Watkins, they were interchangeable. Cup and Woods was still there. The tight ends were. Todd Gurley's that X factor, that elite running back. And as good as the committee was last season, I think they need that top 5 fantasy. And I hate blending fantasy, but I think they need that elite running back for this offense to work.
Yeah, I don't totally disagree with that. And I think I don't think anybody was expecting Akers to be Gurley, but I think they got excited that he was explosive and could be, a difference maker in that backfield, something they haven't had since Gurley kind of started going downhill. And so I think that's where you saw the big excitement coming back, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with them now without him. So
So all right, well, moving into BDN's boys here, the Chicago Bears. Basically, we all expect Justin Fields to take over for Andy Dalton at some point this season. Maybe it's preseason, maybe it's week 10. But assuming he takes over sooner rather than later, I mean, how productive do you think he can honestly be for fantasy managers?
Are we talking about
Fields?
Fields.
Okay. Well, the report today, and I know it's camp, but the report that I saw today was that Andy Dalton was the best quarterback on the field, which he should be the best quarterback on the field.
It's a rookie,
one of his first practices. My worry with Justin Fields is not if he's capable or not. It's how do we draft him in fantasy drafts, especially now or even before this? Because I do think Matt Nagy comes from Kansas City, and they had Mahomes sit behind Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, they've been to the playoffs a few times. Maybe they buy themselves another year with the organization if they present that plan to ownership. That, hey, we're gonna sit field.
You know how pissed off
We're gonna see how far Big Red can take us.
Our producer Jeff Hicks is a huge Bears fan. Do you know how pissed off he would be if that actually happened? Oh my goodness, he'd be livid because he despises the front office there and the coaching staff.
But it's like, why are we so excited about Justin Fields? Because Ryan Pace, he also traded up and he got Mitchell Trubisky. So it's not like the track record. The track record's not there. Why is it different this time around? Because there's no it's like everybody's in on Fields.
I think so. Watching both of them in college, Justin Fields is a far and away better quarterback than Trubisky ever was. Right. And look, I'll say this too. Like, I'm a big ACC guy. Watch the Virginia Tech Hokies all the time, so I see lots of ACC games. When Trubisky went where he went, AJ and I were doing a draft show. My jaw dropped. I was like, no, like, what just happened? That's one of the worst picks I've seen in a long time. Fields, I can go both ways with Fields because you got the Ohio State quarterback stigma where like none of them have worked. It feels like, but he just feels like a different quarterback that's ever come out of that system. Yes, that system is loaded all the time, and so, yeah, the quarterbacks are going to put up numbers. But, man, he was legit. So I can buy into him a little bit. I'm in some best ball leagues right now where he's going ahead of some guys. He's going ahead of, like, legit starters right now. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that yet. Because he could not start till week, 8? Let's say that. Then what are you doing with him in best ball? You've sat on a guy for 8 weeks. Getting 0 from him. That's tough. Out of a quarterback where you've hopefully, if you took Fields, you've probably drafted 3. But I've seen him be like the QB2 on a few best ball teams. Yeah, that's it. That's tough, man. Like in redraft, I don't think I can take him. I think it's a wait and see approach. But I think as soon as he gets the call, someone's gonna snag him and
And I think it's justified. You're buying into the ceiling. You're buying into the upside. There's weapons in Chicago.
There are. For sure. I mean, Al Robinson's legit. We know that, though.
Robinson's phenomenal.
Mooney's is up and coming.
We'll talk about here a little bit. He's up and coming. They don't have Anthony Miller anymore, which helps Mooney. It could also help Cole Kmet get more involved. Montgomery, Cohen.
Jimmy Graham's still on the roster. He's going to score some touchdowns.
Yeah.
I know Kmet people don't want to hear that, but he's still there.
They need to hear it. I mean, and we'll hear it a little bit later. So let's jump into these running backs here, though, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. So the running back room is pretty loaded for this division. So starting off here with Dalvin Cook at running back number 2, Aaron Judge at running back number 9, which is another guy I expect to move up. I've moved him up in my rankings. DeAndre Swift at 16, David Montgomery at 18, AJ Dillon at 40, Jamal Williams at 43, Tarek Cohen at 48, Alexander Madison at 51, and then Damian Williams is 62. Just keep in mind, everybody listening, this is half PPR ADPs. So, we kind of just went in the middle between standard and PPR. So, felt like that was the best way to do it. Back here to Detroit. Let's, Anthony Lynn, what's he doing here? He's coming out going, Jamal Williams looks like an A running back, but we got Swift and the hell's happening here? I have no idea. We know, he came from when, Denver, where he had Eckler and Melvin Gordon. And so, kind of what people are thinking is going to happen here is that like he's going to use Swift in the Eckler role and then maybe Williams in the Gordon role, but like Williams has never been used in that kind of role before, so like I don't know where that's coming from. I like what's your take on this running back situation? Because I'll be honest, it's one I'm just going like I don't want any part of it.
I'm still buying into DeAndre Swift. We saw a lot of good things last season, and there was competition for DeAndre Swift. He wasn't the only back. There were a couple other guys in the mix, and when DeAndre Swift got going, he looked like one of the better rookie backs coming out. And last year was a really strong class for rookie backs. I like Jamal Williams, but I can see Jamal Williams. He's getting a little bit overhyped. I think he's going to be in that same role as he was last year in Green Bay.
Yeah, I can't imagine him really.
Like, if he was really the guy, he would have popped already.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pop behind Aaron Jones, I feel
right.
like.
AJ Dillon did.
Good. True.
He had one good, I can't remember a Jamal Williams game like that.
No.
Wasn't Jones hurt too that game?
For like a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, Jamal Williams is the Tarek Cohen of Detroit now because he was the Tarek Cohen of Green Bay, for so many years. And I mean, I like the guy. He's a quality back, especially from a fantasy standpoint. If you're looking for a late stash for best ball or something just to get some points or a bye week fill in, but that's really about his ceiling to me. I'm not really buying much into him. I think this has got to be Swift's run. It's got to be his backfield. And
I've only been taking Williams in best ball leagues as like, in those leagues where I've got like the first or second or third pick, and you come back around to that second, third pick, and there's like no good running backs left, and you're just like, what?
You're screwed.
I'm going like CMC or Cook or Kamara, and then like I'm gonna wait, and so like I end up getting maybe another like middle tier running back or whatever, and then later on I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take a stab at Williams, see what happens. It's like a fourth running back just in a best ball league. That's the only place I'm interested in him, really.
Just looking at carries alone, in 13 games, DeAndre Swift didn't carry the ball more than 16 times, and he's gone for double-digit PPR points in 10 of those games. He was 16th in fantasy points per game. Again, not seeing more than 16 carries, and he only did that once. Now, he was obviously involved catching the football, but I don't know if DeAndre Swift is ever going to be – he's not going to be that I don't know if he has that ceiling of an Antonio Gibson, but DeAndre Swift has a high-end RB2 ceiling for me.
You could argue if Swift could get the workload that he could be better than Gibson, because that's still one thing we're not sure that's going to happen with Gibson is the workload. We talked about that last week is, the points per touch with Gibson is phenomenal. But we just don't know if he's going to get enough to matter to break into that RB1, territory where a lot of people think he can go. He should be able to, but who knows?
Yeah. So speaking of Tarek Cohen, let's talk about the Tarek Cohen of the Bears, Mr. Tarek Cohen. Are we thinking that he's going to actually maintain his status as the go-to pass catching back, even though Chicago has numerous capable receiving backs? And then just, following up with that, if he does maintain that role, how much is that affecting your ADP look for Montgomery if he's going to lose maybe 25% of the passing work?
I'm a little bit worried about Tarek Cohen's overall role and when he's going to get back on the field. I know he suffered a little bit of a setback, a little bit of swelling in his knee. That's going to set him back. This team brought in Damian Williams, and with a healthy Cohen, I think Damian is more of a pure backup. But if Cohen misses any time or if he's limited, I think Damon Williams can be that pass catching back. Because remember, in Chicago, they moved off of Anthony Miller. They also lost Cordarrelle Patterson. So that Cordarrelle Patterson,
tallest running back in NFL history,
do a little bit of everything. I think there's a role on that offense for a Cordarrelle Patterson type player, and that's where Cohen really fits. I don't know how much he's going to eat into David Montgomery's workload, because Montgomery last year in that second half, he proved he's fully capable of running, as a true bell cow.
Yeah, I agree.
The second half of last year, and it was. I mean, he was phenomenal for DFS too. It's just like every week I'm like, well, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take him now and just see what happens. And I was happy with it. Obviously, the rest of my team was not good, but hey, at least I had one good pick.
Yeah. I mean, he was phenomenal down the stretch. I mean, 20, 23, 21, 28 points. And I mean, that's standard. Even if I could switch it to half PPR, it's even more. So, that was from week 12 on. They finally decided like they're just going to give him the damn ball, which is like, hey, no duh. This guy needed the volume. He needed it in college too. Yeah. But yeah, bringing in Damon Williams is definitely gonna cut into Cohen's role here a little bit too. And look, I'll be honest, maybe this is a little biased by me, but Khalil Herbert, man, Hokie, he was fun. Like, he shocked me last year performing the way he did for Virginia Tech. He came out of Kansas in the transfer portal, and I did not expect anything from him, and he was electric. I'd be maybe not so much early on, but like, if there's an injury or so here and there, like, I think Herbert could be a guy that you want to pay a little bit of attention to. So let's get in here to Green Bay. We mentioned this, earlier about A.J. Dillon, but I mean, look, we all know this is Aaron Jones. Like, it's Aaron Jones. I moved him up into, I'm pretty sure, the top 5 or 6 of my running back rankings as soon as I heard Rodgers was coming back. There's no reason not to. Actually, maybe that's too high. Maybe like top 7. The real question is, though, is just how much work can A.J. Dillon get behind Aaron Jones?
Is A.J. Dillon going to slide into that Jamal Williams role? And obviously, I don't think he's going to catch as many passes. He could be a goal line vulture. But Aaron Jones, in the past 2 years, he's finished as the RB3 and RB4, respectively, in fantasy points per game. Aaron Rodgers, there's this word again, trusts him as a receiver out of the backfield.
Yeah.
And it's not just short plays. Like Aaron Jones will run routes and Aaron Rodgers will hit him in the end zone. I don't think he's going to come off the field a lot like we saw last year. But at the goal line, there's going to be times where A.J. Dillon gets the ball and looks like a waiver wire pickup. But to me, this is going to be Aaron Jones's, if they're going for it all, Aaron Jones is going to play a lot of football.
Yeah. I'm still mad at myself for not taking him over. I almost don't even want to say Leonard Fournette, but
disrespected.
He was, because he had such a phenomenal year 2 years ago, and you had to buy into that positive regression. It was a thing, and it clouded me and probably a bunch of other people. But I just didn't like him last year for whatever reason, and it burned me again. So I think he's going to be just the same. He's going to be awesome this year again, and like you said, he's trustworthy. And the nice thing about him too is, if Jamal Williams is out there, getting some swing passes and whatever, he's going to pick up, maybe 10 yards. Jones can run the whole field. I mean, he's just electric in open space, making guys miss. So I don't see much changing from him either.
Look, I know everybody wants to talk about A.J. Dillon being a goal line, a snake here, but vulture. But Aaron Jones, he's one of the best goal line runners in the league. He's so efficient in the red zone. It's going to be hard to take him off the field in those situations. I kind of see Dillon as Aaron Jones tap me out. I need a breather. maybe a third down, short yardage play. Like, you go get me the first down, let me do the rest after that. Like, I think that's more what we're going to see. Yeah, Dylan's going to get a few goal line rolls, carries you, because the guy's a beast. Like, he's huge. He's hard to bring down. So I get it. But I don't know how you can really bring Aaron Jones off the field. I mean, he had 20 attempts from inside the 10 last year. He scored 6 times.
Yeah.
That's pretty phenomenal. So,
I think that if LaFleur is going to be smart and, smarter, I guess, I wouldn't be surprised if they put both of them on the field and have Dylan more of like that traditional fullback role. And then they're thinking it's going to Jones, and then no, we're going to go over here to Dylan.
That would be interesting.
That's going to be where he snakes, the John Ritchie bleeding face type touchdowns.
The only way that works is if Dylan's good at pass coverage or pass blocking, because you got to protect Rodgers back there, and if you've got two running backs back there, you're obviously going to spread one out and then go one up the middle, and then Dylan's going to be the one up the middle, probably blocking. And I don't know enough about Dylan's pass protection to say if that would work. But that's an interesting thought. I do like that.
Yeah. So, all right, jumping back into to Minnesota here. I mean, are we basically able to say at this point that the days of Alexander Mattison as the top 3 handcuff are pretty much over after last season? I mean, it was a meh. Like, just what I don't even know. I mean, but does Madison's poor showing last year make Cook even more valuable as the go-to, every down back?
I never really bought into Alexander Mattison as anything more than a true handcuff to Dalvin Cook. And what Dalvin Cook is now showing us is that he's healthy. He's durable. So really, like, it's almost like, why are we drafting Tony Pollard so high? That's Zeke's backfield.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. You're depending on injury, and on Dallas, I don't know I guess you're depending on that Zeke's the oldest 26-year-old back ever. I don't get it. Yeah. Zeke was top 10 and across every opportunity metric last year. He was also top 10 in evaded tackles and yards created. What Zeke needs is the good offensive line. When he gets to that second level, he's still elusive.
Which he's going to get back this year, it feels like.
Yeah,
so
I have him ranked as my 3rd running back right now.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, Dalvin Cook too. Like these handcuff, these Pollards and Madisons. Yeah, maybe they give you 1 or 2 games in DFS or in best ball, but redraft you can't. They're not draftable for me.
The only reason why I draft these guys is if I draft a Cook who has some injury history, if I draft a Zeke who has some injury history, then you can stash, Madison. You've got that, you got that security blanket. Otherwise, you're literally sitting on a guy for nothing.
Yeah.
I have a tough time drafting other people's handcuffs.
Again, it's going to be week 8 or something, and okay, well, maybe one of these guys doesn't feel well. They got a stomach bug or something. They just ate something bad at a Chi-Chi's. I don't know. But
Chi-Chi's, wow.
Yeah, I'm pulling out the stops. That's also for you, DK Nugs. I just think, Pollard's been good when he's been given an opportunity.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
I would definitely, if I had to choose between these 2 handcuffs, hands down, I'm taking Pollard no matter what. 3 years ago, it was a little bit harder of a choice, but I mean, Madison just hasn't really shown it.
Yeah.
Abdul Amira or whatever.
Amir Abdullah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's I'm a little dyslexic right now. He probably outplayed Madison last year and was seeing more on there.
So what you're talking about, AJ, and just for everybody listening, so you're talking about we all know Madison had some good games last year. He had week 5, 112 carries, good game there.
112 carries, that's a hell of a workload.
112 yards, sorry. What you're talking about, though, is that week you're talking about that Week 6 game against Atlanta of all teams, right? Everybody, that's when Cook was out, and everybody's going, okay, here we go. Madison had 10 carries for 26 yards. Not good. Not good at all. So, and he did nothing after that. Granted, Cook was a complete beast after that, but it just felt like the whole entire Minnesota coaching staff just went, you know what? You're just going to sit right here, and we're going to let Cook do everything until he tells us he can't. Because that's pretty much what happened. He got single-digit carries from Week 10 on. So I don't like him anymore. I do like Pollard a little bit. Pollard's got some talent, and Zeke hasn't been the healthiest player. He's been off and on the field here and there, but yeah, I agree. Like when it's hard to predict that though as a backup. Like I don't like drafting backups, hoping the guy ahead of him gets hurt. I want to draft a second running back on a team because he's got a role without the starter there, regardless.
Right.
Yeah. So you're Jamal Williams, I guess. He's going to have a role whether we like it or not.
Nyheim Hines.
Exactly.
I just grabbed him in Rasbowl. I waited on getting my first quarterback, and I was debating, as you know, Joe, I was debating on taking Herbert and either a receiver or a tight end or somebody, and I ended up going receiver tight end, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to keep waiting on quarterback and see what happens. Herbert came back to me, so I grabbed him finally, and then I took Hines. He was a little bit lower down overall, but I love Hines. I mean, he's like, Jamal Williams is Hines like.
I only worry with Marlon Mack coming back. I know that Marlon Mack doesn't play the Nyheim Hines role, but I think they do hurt. I think everybody kind of hurts each other there at that point.
I think so too. But I mean, I only had CMC and ETN, so I needed something.
Those are my first two running backs in that league, and then I got Williams and Gus Edwards. So here's hoping for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 4. What round are you guys in?
I just got through my 8 and 9 turn, I think.
Yeah, I'm 7 picks in.
I'm a little farther. Our league, so we've got Donkey in our league, so we're flying. We're around 13.
Jesus.
Wow. Yeah, we're flying. Everybody's like pinging each other every 10 seconds.
I pinged the one guy that's around my turn picks, and like I woke up real late the other night and looked at it and was like, all right, whatever. It's on the stop stop timer or whatever.
It's a 7-8. I'm mad at you.
Wow.
I got Tannehill on the no shit. You got Herbert on the 8-9?
8-9.
I got Tannehill on the 8-9. I couldn't. Thankfully, he fell to me. Like it was like, and it sucks because literally, like I passed my 6-7 turn right before Rodgers got announced, and then who gets picked? Like 2 picks after me, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, clearly I would have taken him. That would have been a no-brainer.
In what round?
Yeah, that would have been round 7.
Okay. Yeah, I took
Rodgers.
I would have, but I made my 6-7 pick like right before Rodgers was like, "Hey, I'm back. I'm walking into the stadium." I'm like, "You're a jerk."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he went after Trey Sermon. That's how bad the running backs flew off the board in my league, and I just kept waiting. I'm like, I just snatched up receiver value, and I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll just take some PPR backs. I took Edwards and Jamal Williams later.
Yeah,
it'll figure itself out in best ball. I think. I hope. Anyway,
so
we do only have to start 2, and I've got 6 receivers already, so I'm good. Anyway, let's go to receivers here, man.
All right, so this is the long list we were talking about here. Obviously, we got Devontae Adams at number 2. Justin Jefferson is at 8. Allen Robinson the second at number 10. Adam Thielen sitting at 21. And we got a little bit of a space between for coming up on Mooney at 52. We mentioned Perryman. He's at 68. Alan Lazard, 74. MVS 77, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 79, Randall Cobb sitting in at 89, Tyrell Williams at 90, and Amari Rodgers at 93. Had to just get them all in there. The last six probably are meaningless though. So, but with yeah, true.
There's
So
a lot of people playing right now, so we're good.
We you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, Anthony, with Randall Cobb coming home to Green Bay. But I mean, who do we really see as the wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 for the Packers this year?
I think it's going to be Cobb, and there's something here with MVS that I like. And I think Aaron Rodgers, he kept going to him with the deep ball, and when they connect, I think it's going to be MVS. It's either that or they're going to kind of play like a wide receiver 2 and 3 by committee, where it's going to be Adams, Cobb, and that third row is whatever they need him for. If they need the deep ball, they put MVS in. Maybe they, if it's closer to the goal line, it's Funchess. If Funchess makes the team.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's any real clear cut. Like St. Brown, I think he shot. The guys like Malik Taylor, Reggie Beggleton, they're all going to be practice squad guys. The main is going to be Lazard, Adams, MVS, Cobb, and the rookie.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a toss-up every week. It's hard. Like, I literally, on my last pick for Rasball, was just sitting there going, like, should I take a receiver? Like, I feel like I need another one. And I went Lazard, MVS, like I but then there's like another dozen guys that are all the same as them. So I went, you know what, screw it, I'm taking Gesicki, the second tight end, and just pull the trigger on something else because I'm like, he's better than the rest, and just move. Like you can't predict with those guys, and I get it, in best ball you don't need to, but I don't feel like they're gonna have enough weeks to matter to pick them over, like, getting a solid tight end 2 in Gesicki there for me. My favorite out of those 3 is Lazard. MVS, I think, has the most talent. He just can't catch the ball. Feels like half the time, it's just mind-boggling why he can't do that. Yeah. I'm semi-interested in seeing what the rookie can do, but I don't think he's going to get enough chance with them, especially bringing in Cobb. So, it's going to be hit or miss with all of these guys. But let's move over to a team where it's not so much hit or miss. We know what's going to happen here, and we know Justin Jefferson is the real deal. He easily had one of the best rookie receiving seasons ever. I mean, can he give us an encore performance?
I'm buying into Justin Jefferson, especially now that, Adam Thielen, who's extremely effective touchdown efficiency-wise last year, but it seems like Justin Jefferson is taking over as the alpha on the team. It was debatable between Diggs and Thielen. I would have probably given the edge to Thielen at the time, but this is Justin Jefferson's wide receiver room. There is no 3. The Minnesota Vikings did not run a ton of 3 wide receiver sets last year, if I think back to their formations. So it's clear cut with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. My biggest worry is what we talked about earlier with Kirk Cousins. Is he going to have to throw as much? So we're going to have a much more efficient Justin Jefferson, because I'm not sure that volume is going to be there.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, the one thing you look at too last year is that they and this year again, they're going to be a run first team, but now they have 2 quality guys on the outside with Jefferson and Thielen. They ran a lot of 2 tight end sets last year too, with Rudolph and Irv Smith. And now Rudolph's out of the picture. Who's going to step up there? Is there going to be like a Conklin sighting that we're going to have? And maybe that's going to be a new thing.
Yeah.
Check out Conklin's usage at the end of the year last year. Yep.
Yeah.
And
he stepped up. Yeah, he stepped up and had a lot of quality, games that he was involved in. Hell, CJ Ham was involved in the offense last year, and it's like, all right, well, that's something, I guess. But yeah, BC Johnson, okay. I mean, if anything, I got to give a shout out to my cousin. I hope he is still on the team. That's Mr. Dan Chisena, Penn State product, and one of the fastest people of all time. Dude's literally lightning. So I'd love to see him get involved and get a chance. A
lot of people look like lightning running next to you, AJ.
No, he literally is lightning.
Sorry.
He won state championships in track in the Penn Relays and set records for it. So you can go ahead and look that one up.
I'm just busting your balls, man. Come on.
I know. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's still going to be a run-first offense, but if
it is.
Jefferson's the go-to, regardless. So. All right, let's go to Detroit then. So you kind of already mentioned it again as well with the hype around Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, A, do you agree with the hype? And B, can he be trusted as a productive fantasy player?
We see a lot of rookie receivers that are not first rounders because last year I feel like that was an anomaly. Usually first round receivers, they don't usually pop the way we did. And it's later round guys. I think there's going to be an opportunity here for Amon-Ra St. Brown because when I brought up, Tyrell Williams and Rashad Perriman, they're going to be good for Goff and good for the deep ball. But when they're on the field, because both of them have a long injury history, I believe at this point more so Tyrell Williams. But outside of Quintez Cephas, Geronimo Allison opted out. Like I can't believe he's still in the league. So if there's going to be, why not take a flyer on him?
Yeah. I mean, it can't hurt. It was the last round.
I mean, for the price point, it's why not?
Yeah, I mean, 93, and Cephas is even behind him. I stopped at or I'm sorry, no, that's
St. Brown.
He's 79.
It's still free.
Yeah. Cephas is like past 100 though. So
hey, the Lions have like forgotten. The vacated targets is like north of 300.
I mean, yeah, you bring it up, Anthony. Like, look, we all don't like Goff. We don't like this Lions team.
But
somebody's got to catch the ball. Like, somebody's got to catch the ball. And so, like,
Holiday and
I will
Marvin
take a chance
Jones
on Perriman or St. Brown in most of my leagues somewhere because why not? At that point, like, you're taking the wide receiver 4 on some teams over these wide receiver 1s on the Lions. Like, and again, you said it too, Anthony. The defense is going to be putrid. That's all they're going to do is pass.
I'm looking at this wide receiver depth chart. Chad Hansen, Khalif.
Oh, it's so bad.
Khalif Raymond is listed as a starter over St. Brown. Khalif Raymond? He couldn't see the field in Tennessee with Corey Davis.
Bad.
Yeah, he was like a practice squad guy for life last year until COVID. It's like, all right, I can play. Come get me.
It's gonna be ugly fantasy points in PPR leagues, but I think some of these guys are gonna have a high floor. Maybe not the best ball players, but in a PPR league, just in case you have guys that are banged up, or if you're running back heavy and you need high floor receivers, a couple of these guys might work out and give you 10 points a week.
I'm calling it right now that somebody is going to win one of the DraftKings or FanDuel top $1 million+ prizes with a random Detroit receiver that just blows up that week. Calling it now, some point this season. It's happening.
We've seen crazier things happen. But let's finish off here the wide receivers with the Bears. And I'm surprised they didn't bring your Dick outfit, man.
I know.
I just realized that. Oh, you should have seen him, Anthony. You probably missed it because I know you do your own draft show. AJ showed up at the very end of. Well, so you had the middle pick, but then the Bears.
I had a pick.
The Bears traded it.
The Bears.
You had the Bears pick, but they traded
Bears
it.
Colts was towards the end, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I literally was just
decked out in Dick
huge
Oh man, it was
bushy
phenomenal.
beard and mustache. I was shaving everything off other than my mustache to pose as
but
Ditka
he had the big
for
beard
the
then,
show.
so it was like a real mustache.
It was ridiculous. I mean,
It was a good time.
Then, but I was like literally up there, and then my phone's going off, and he's trying to text me. I'm like, what the hell? And I see Bears trade pick up, move up. I'm like, God damn it!
Wow,
I did this whole thing for nothing.
Yeah, he missed the Bears pick.
But yeah, I came on. I still did it.
You did. It was pretty good. It was pretty damn good.
It was good. It was good.
All right, so talking about the Bears, so Jeff, our producer, wrote this question because he's a Bears fan. So he said, historically, fifth round wide receivers haven't done much. Especially even just in the first couple of years, right? It takes him a little while to get into it. But what do we think about Darnell Mooney, who seems to have, a bit of a following, especially in fantasy, and now even more so with Anthony Miller being traded to Houston. Oh, AJ, where'd you go?
Hold on. I don't know. What's this
You can keep talking, Anthony. Just go ahead.
the hell?
Did we just get muted? Yeah, just go ahead. He'll figure it out.
I can still hear you.
Listen, last year, and when I look into Darnell Mooney, he quietly had the quietest 98 targets.
Yeah, right.
Where the hell did they come from? I think he was. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. 11th in deep targets. He had 23. So can you imagine if he has an accurate quarterback throwing these deep targets to him? And that's what I think of Darnell Mooney. So I can make a case for him and his ADP shooting up without Anthony Miller there. I just don't know how far I'm going to reach for a Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, I've seen people going pretty crazy with him, not going to lie. Like I took him a couple months ago in a best ball, and it was pretty late, and I was like, yeah, I mean, this is a fine upside play. But yeah, I mean, his air yards, were 1,157. That's insane. That's pretty top notch. I don't have it ranked above with everybody, but he's at least in the top 30.
29th actually, but 10th.
Right there, you go, 29th.
10th.
That's crazy.
Realized air yards.
Yeah, so that's crazy, and he's like a very unknown rookie, and yeah, again, like 98 targets. Like, where'd those come from? Terrible quarterback play. So,
and what's the competition really at receiver outside?
Nothing.
There's nothing here.
I mean,
I like the upside with him big time, but there's also a huge floor with him. Like the floor is like nothing with him. He could literally bottom out a lot of. He's gonna be hard to trust. I believe in season long like redraft leagues where you've got to pick and choose your guys. Best ball, I'm all over him because he's gonna have those massive weeks. I feel like, and at the time, at least right now, and even a month ago, like when you had to take him, it's not super high, but his ADP is climbing, especially now with Anthony Miller being traded. He's starting to move up into the territory where some guys are going, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
He's in the top one. He's at 99 right now in underdog.
Yeah,
so into that top 100.
Yeah,
I mean, looking at PFF stuff, the Bears just do not have a favorable schedule at all for receivers, not only in regular season, but also in the playoffs. They're one of the lowest. And, obviously we know Robinson's going to get his. Mooney's going to have his chance. You're looking at Daz Newsome, Damari Bird. He didn't do anything in New England, so now welcome here. Marquise Goodwin. You opted out after coming to the Eagles. Javon Wims already mentioned. Riley Ridley, who people liked a lot last year, including myself. I kind of had hopes as like a late deep sleeper for him. Never played, really. So there's just not anybody there unless they're really banking on Tarek Cohen being the Tarek Cohen we've seen. So
let me ask you guys this. So in my Raspberry League, Darren Mooney got picked 3 rounds ago. 3 rounds ago, round 10. He went right after, for wide receivers at least, Chenault, Corey Davis, and Michael Pittman, but ahead of Devontae Parker, Mecole Hardman, Russell Gage, Jalen Waddle, which obviously has the ankle injury, but I still think that's, Aguilar, Hilton, Gabriel Davis, Rashad Bateman, and then whoever. Is that fair value for him? Starting to creep up too high? Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of iffy right there. There's a few guys I might have taken ahead of him still at that point, but I don't know.
I don't even think I'm trying to see if he's even been drafted in mine. I don't
Probably not. I mean, we're around 10 in mine. So you guys are you that far? You're not that far yet.
No.
And receivers drop. Right. So think about that. So don't worry about the round. It's worry about the where he's going around. He went right after guys like Michael Pittman, who we all I think really like. He went ahead of Parker and Hardman and Gage, who we all really like. Hilton, Gabriel Davis, those types of guys.
I think I'm still taking some of those guys ahead of him. Hardman, I would take ahead of him. Even, I mean, it's just a better offense. Gage.
I like Gage more than any of them. Actually, I actually don't like Hardman.
Be a toss-up.
I can't buy into a third receiver for Kansas City. We had the discussion earlier. They just don't throw them the ball, not often enough to matter. If anybody, I want DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah, I like Robinson better than I like Hardman this year.
But what about you, Anthony? Is that kind of fair value for him, or is he starting to creep up?
I think he's starting to creep up a little bit, but I do like some of those other guys better.
Yeah, I agree.
You bring up a Gabriel Davis. I have a lot of optimism for Gabriel Davis
Me too.
right now. Emmanuel Sanders, he's getting talked up right now, but eventually, I think Gabriel Davis emerges.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, we've seen Emmanuel Sanders not do anything with Drew Brees. We've seen Emmanuel Sanders. It's been a couple seasons, right? I know he had an injured season too, but Emmanuel Sanders is. I mean, sorry, he's old. So Gabriel Davis is electric. And he's fast. And he's a good receiver, man. This guy's going to be good. All right, let's finish things off with the tight ends here, AJ.
All right, so we got TJ Hawkinson as tight end 4. We got Tanyan as tight end 10. Irv Smith, we mentioned, is 13. Cole Kmet is 19. Jimmy Graham is 33. And that's all we need to talk about. So going right back to the top guy here for this division in Hawk, how high is too high to draft Hawkinson? I mean, we obviously know Goff likes to target the tight end early, often, and Hawk's been one of the better tight ends between the hashes. So where are you looking at him this year?
I don't have a lot of exposure to Hawkinson because if I'm not getting one of the top guys, and I'm normally a person who targets later tight ends and maybe grabs a few of them because I like to throw this stat around. Between the tight end 8 to tight end 16, roughly 12 PPR points separated them. So, yeah, it was that bad. And Hawkinson, he was a tight end 7 in fantasy points per game. He averaged 10.3 fantasy points per game last year, 10.8 for his ADP right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy into it.
Yeah,
the volume was there last year, and people are really
he was
being
sucked
into that, and I get it. But I haven't gotten him anywhere. I'm with you, Anthony. I'm not getting Kelsey or Waller. I'm waiting.
Let's look at it from this perspective, right? Because everybody's going to say, well, there's no receivers, and Hawkinson's going to be, he's going to get all the targets. Galladay didn't play last year.
Yep.
They had Marvin Jones, but it was basically Marvin Jones and then Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a similar situation. You didn't have your alpha last year. You don't have an alpha this year. The difference.
I guess you could argue their quarterback situation is better because Stafford got hurt. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, Stafford was hurt. Galladay didn't play. It wasn't the same Detroit team that we're used to. So the ball had to go somewhere. And
Stafford was healthy last year. I think the year before was the injury year, where he actually missed games.
yeah, maybe he just sucked for us last year. No, I thought Scott Fish, he was. I don't know. I know we both had him as Scott Fish. I don't know if he necessarily missed games. I just think he wasn't good.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why I thought he was hurt last year.
He was healthy.
He was.
Man, what the hell's going on with
You're right.
Sprained ankle in week 16. That's the only injury report I'm seeing.
You're totally right. I don't know why I thought. I'm thinking 2019.
Yeah.
I'm blank. I'm still trying to forget 2020. Sorry. But no, he wasn't good last year. So, yeah, I mean, that even makes it worse for Hawkinson. Like, you had Stafford throwing you the ball and literally only you and Marvin Jones, and now it's Goff throwing maybe to just you. I guess that helps. I don't know. I don't like him where he's being. I don't like his ADP.
I think his ADP is a bit high. I probably will not own him at all this year. I mean, he went on the 4. No, where did he go? The 5-6 turn in my Raz Bowl.
Again, I mean that'd be good in a normal league, but
I don't.
Granted, it's best ball.
Yeah,
and so
I think his value is a little bit better for that, and I like the tandem with him and Goff, but I don't want to pay up for him. There's too much other talent right there that I'd rather have at skill positions in building depth than wasting a pick on a tight end 4 or 5. So,
would you rather draft Pitts or Hawkinson? Let's throw that out there right now.
Oh man.
Well, funny you say that because I got Pitts.
I got Pitts too.
The 7-1,
and I hate myself for it. But
he
7?
What?
7-1.
I got him 4-1.
LaPresta.
No, I got him at 4-12.
LaPresta
7. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Damn,
dude. My league was all running backs in round 1 except for Kelsey and Adams.
That's insane.
The 9 and 10, LaPresta got Kelsey. Second round was basically all receivers, 4 running backs. Third round was back to running back only receivers.
Oh my gosh.
4 receivers. And then fourth round was crazy receivers, Mahomes, Kittle, Allen. I mean,
that is insane.
It was nuts. I was like,
funny you say that.
And he was my tight end 1 in 7th round. I took on my 6-7. I took Higgins and Pitts instead of reaching. Well, apparently would have been reaching to take Herbert. The only other quarter,
but they didn't. Your team is stacked, dude. That's crazy. Yeah. I'm mad at you. And I'm jealous.
I was like really scared about my team personnel. I really like it.
So I ended up taking Pitts at 4-12, and I wish I hadn't now because Andrews didn't go till 5-9, and then Hawkinson didn't go till 5-12, and then there was not another single tight end taken till round 9. My league just ignored tight end, and I didn't realize they were going to. But I just went with upside. Like I've had a bunch of best ball leagues, and I was like, you know what? I haven't had Pitts yet.
He's a good best ball player.
Yeah, I figured, and you know what? I feel like me grabbing Gesicki in 13 now kind of gives me that safe floor with tight end that I don't feel as dangerous taking Pitts as where I did. I definitely don't like it taking me 4 where I did now, but my league just went went running back crazy for the first 3 rounds, and I got ETN in round 5-1. That was the next best running back. I was like, sure. Like, I don't know. Like, I had to take somebody.
No, sorry. I took him at 4-12, and then I took DJ Moore.
Yeah, like, but had damn, DJ. Oh, yeah,
I'm like,
DJ Moore.
why is he sitting here?
DJ Moore went at 4-11, so that's fine. But yeah, I just was like, whatever. But I'd already taken AJ Brown and Keenan Allen at that point. But God, I hate your team, AJ. Damn it. All right. Anyway,
I like my Raz Bowl team.
I love my Raspberry
Now that I'm
team
looking
this
at
year.
it.
what do you got?
I have Saquon, and I was picking from the 10. So I got
10. All right.
Saquon, Aaron Jones, Dobbins, Julio Jones, Lamar Jackson, Trey Sermon, and OBJ.
Damn. Okay.
All right. So yeah, you're going running back heavy for sure.
Yeah, I got to protect myself.
I've got
Barkley.
OBJ too.
Yeah.
I'm so nervous with him.
too.
I don't like him, but I needed.
I needed
wanted because once I went running back, receiver, tight end, and then took one more running back, and then I came back around, and my next best running back would have been like Ronald Jones. I was like, I've got to tap. I've just got to double tap receiver again, and just like, all my flex are going to be tight receivers mostly.
Yeah.
The whole year. So I took
that's what I
Odell,
want,
hoping he bounces back a little bit.
Yeah.
Took Sutton. Yeah, it's tough, man. Best ball's tough, especially with these expert leagues. But let's keep moving here, guys. Into Chicago tight end territory, we've got Cole Kmet. People really like this guy, and I do too. I think his talent is there. We saw him have a couple good games down the stretch last season. But, what can his floor and ceiling be for 2021 with Jimmy Graham still there, taking goal line targets away more than anything?
Kmet's one of those guys that we talk about, and we're seeing it and hearing it a lot more this year in the industry. Guys we like better for best ball, guys we like better for redraft and DFS, and Cole Kmet to me is that best ball guy.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't know what the role is yet because there could be extra opportunities without Anthony Miller. We don't know what the role is going to be because Jimmy Graham's still there, and I think he has an $8 million cap hit. He's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Not at
all. With all those factors, it's like Irv Smith. We talked about Tyler Conklin. I'm sure we will in a couple minutes. These guys are reserved for late best ball shots for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. When I took Gesicki, I literally looked at Kmet. I looked at a guy we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, Irv Smith, and just went, you know what? Gesicki's got a more defined role than all of these guys. So I went with Gesicki. Not that he hasn't disappointed many, many times, because most tight ends do. But that's why I went with that. So,
yeah, I mean, the plus side there for Gesicki is schedule. I mean, I think he's got a very good schedule to look at. He's one of the tops. Actually, it might be the top. What the hell is going on here? Yeah, PFF. They've got Houston.
Pretty nice
because they're like, we don't know who's going to be throwing the ball, so the tight ends, you've got to have value. And then Miami is next best team for regular season. So I like the Gesicki pick, and he's someone that I would put some trust in late in best ball. But going back to the actual division we're talking about here, Mr. Robert Tonyan. So do we really think that 2020 was his ceiling, or do you expect more of a bigger year out of him in 2021?
We talked about Green Bay receivers earlier, and that wide receiver room was the deepest it's been with a whole bunch of guys. Tonyan isn't going to get the volume. So what we have to worry about is, can he keep up the touchdown efficiency? I'm not at his ADP at Underdog's 127 right now. I think it's fair. If Aaron Rodgers was not on this team, Robert Tonyan's undraftable. But with Aaron Rodgers there, as long as you're not reaching for Tonyan, I mean, you can really put a nice, either Devontae or Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Tonyan stacked together.
Yeah,
I like it. I just moved Tonyan back up my rankings. I had him down all the way around like 11, 12, Logan Thomas, Higbee, Irv Smith area. Cause at that point it's kind of like, whatever. But as soon as Rodgers came back, Tunyon's back up in 7. He's right below Andrews, and I could argue he could be ahead of Pitts, honestly. I think he's a huge target for Rodgers, and Rodgers trusts him, and that's a big thing as we talked about with Rodgers. So I like it.
The issue with Pitts, that I still have, and he's a
rookie.
Yeah, he's a rookie is 1. 2, they paid Hayden Hurst to be there. That was
you wouldn't draft
trade,
Pitts.
But
you're not going to draft Pitts if you liked Hurst. Let's be honest. Sorry, I know, Anthony, you guys are big Hayden Hurst fans, and I am too. Kudos to everything he has to do. But I was a huge fan of his last year for fantasy. But I don't want to shit on the guy too much. But you don't draft Pitts. Well. You don't draft Pitts if they wanted to rely on Hayden Hurst to be that receiving tight end threat. Let's be real.
Yeah, but maybe they already knew that they were getting rid of Julio and they needed more.
That's a good
firepower for that.
They could just move. They could just move. They could just move Pitts out to a slot. I've heard that a lot. But I think then he loses his advantage. I'm not sure he's going to beat out.
Tight end.
I'm not. No, but I'm not sure.
He's not going to beat out.
No, but I'm not sure. So here's the thing. I'm not sure if you move. I've heard this a lot. People think that Pitts is going to move out to a slot role or, just kind of play a wide receiver type role.
Yeah.
I think he loses his advantage over the defense if he does that.
Yeah.
To where if he plays tight end, he's playing against linebackers or at best a slot receiver because you're not moving in your cornerback 1 or your cornerback 2 to play a tight end if he's lined up at tight end. Not going to happen. If he lines up outside, he's fair game. He's going against the elite cornerbacks in the league a lot of times, and he loses his advantage. So that's where the risk comes in with taking Pitts, in my opinion. And so Atlanta, I think, would be best. It would be in their best benefit to keep him inside and getting him with good matchups, especially early on in his career, to gain its confidence.
We need to consider the coaching change with Arthur Smith last year in Tennessee. They tied with the Eagles for they ran out of 12 personnel 35% of the time. They're 2 tops in the league. The next best team was actually Arizona. Can't even name their tight ends outside of Darrell Daniels and Dan Arnold, who's now in Carolina. But maybe we're going to see a lot of 12 personnel.
Yeah.
We could even see 13. In running situations, because Lee Smith is they acquired Lee Smith, who's one of the better run blocking tight ends in the league.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Hurst is disappearing. I just think his fantasy value's kind of shot, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Pitts is just he's a big dude though. So even if he's out there on the edge, he's gonna be bigger than probably at least 85% of the quarterbacks, if not more than that. I don't know why cornerbacks are good because they're really small and they can jump really high like fucking spider monkeys.
But that's not the case anymore. We're seeing a lot of 6'6" corners that are really good.
We are, and that's great because they need to be. But the reason we're seeing that is because people are shifting these guys that are taller out to corner because it's well, shit. We're getting our asses kicked on all these huge monster receivers. You're tall. Go over there. But that's the way it used to be in the old days or, peewee football. You're playing both sides of the ball. You're a receiver. Hey, guess what? Now you're a cornerback because you're running the same routes just in reverse. I mean, it makes sense, but he's just a monster.
He is
6'6", 240. Okay, I mean, if you want to put him out on the edge, I'm okay with it. But I do think that you can't forget about Hurst. So either way, that has absolutely nothing to do with Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, we got off on a big tangent there.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish it off here. Quick question, we've been talking about Irv Smith for 3 seasons now. Is this finally his real season? If you want to do SEN, as my producer wrote here. Damn you, Jeff. I hate SEO.
No, I wrote that.
Oh, I hate you.
Because I know Jeff was like, God damn it, what is it?
I hate it too. But
I know,
anyway,
not-
Anthony, is
but
this
yeah,
is this
whatever.
finally going to be Irv Smith's season? Like, I've liked him for so long. I have no idea like where to go with him. I think we might have lost Anthony for a second.
Yeah.
So,
looks a little, oh, there we go.
You're bouncing back a little. Oh, we lost you a little bit, Anthony. Oh,
Maybe.
all right, AJ. While we're waiting for Anthony to kind of get his bandwidth back, let's. What do you think? Can Irv Smith finally be the real deal? I mean,
I think that he'll be able to step up more without Rudolph there. But again, I am worried about Conklin. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be. They may kind of be easing Conklin in to that Irv Smith role, and thinking, well, Irv, you've been here for 3 years. You should know how to do the Rudolph role by now. Let's see what you got. And if he falters early, then I think, we might see more of Conklin. Either way, I think both of these guys are going to be on the field more often than not.
trying to wait out Anthony here. It's like a bit, but we actually have an over under question here from the Boston Strangler.
Ooh.
Interesting name. Over under on Kyle Pitts 800 reception yards. Dude, that'd be like one of the best tight end seasons in history for a rookie. I gotta go the under. I mean, this is all there is to it.
Yeah,
just for that reason alone, I'm
feel
going.
like with that number, you're gonna have Matty Ice, like from 6 years ago.
There's just nothing you can do. Like
5,000 yards, and there's no Julio there. You got Ridley. Okay, that's good. You got Hurst, I guess. No, I'm taking the under on that.
Yeah,
now,
me too, for sure.
I'm thinking maybe closer to like 500-ish for maybe 8 touchdowns.
I could go upwards of 600
I think
six or seven touchdowns. I think that's where I'm going here with him.
Better.
Because, I do think, there's going to be, we forget about Mike Davis being there. There's obviously Julio's gone, but like Julio got like 3 touchdowns every year, so whatever.
800 would put him 5th all-time rookie tight end receiving yards. So why is he being drafted so early? Again, I took him at the 7-1. Is that what I said? Yes, the 7-1 in my best ball league.
I think
I literally
think
earlier than that.
I literally think it is the fact that he is, as AJ said, a 6'6", 240 tight end who is basically a receiver.
A monster.
He is a receiver.
He was a receiver for Florida.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He is not a tight end. He will not be blocking, guys. Like, let's put it this way: he will not be blocking. Like, very, very limited blocking.
If he's held in to block guys, he's just gonna go and throw them the hell out of his way,
maybe,
and then open 6-7 yards.
So he's going to be very heavily targeted. So people are expecting him to finish higher than. I mean, come on, we're expecting him to finish higher than Noah Fant, who, we all think is a talented tight end, but he's more of a true tight end who is expected to stay in and block now and then, and doesn't have a good. Look, Matt Ryan's not good anymore, but look, Matt Ryan's better than Drew Lock, better than Teddy Bridgewater, right? Yes. We're expecting him to finish higher. We're expecting him to finish higher than, Robert Tonyan before Rodgers was coming back. So look, maybe now you could argue, but even then, like, Tonyan was so touchdown heavy. That's a big reason for that. So like, you're expecting just high volume out of this very talented kid. Is he being overdrafted? Sure. I have never taken him as high as he has gone in the many drafts I've done, except for this one. This is the first in like a dozen drafts I've already done. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to have some fun.
Want to try it? Yeah, why not?
I'm going to draft
I
some
tried it
Kyle
3
Pitts.
rounds later.
Yeah.
But
That's not trying it 3 rounds later. That's the where you're supposed to go. You suck, AJ.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
so
welcome.
mad at you.
Ugh.
Anyway, so Anthony
He's
is not
literally the size of Tony Gonzalez. So
wow, I didn't realize Gonzalez was
6'5",
that big.
247 is Tony Gonzalez.
I didn't realize he
Hall
was
of
that big.
Famer, gold yellow coat wearing guy.
Dude, he's as tall. He's taller than like most receivers in the league. This is insane. Will he finish higher than Higbee? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because Stafford has more weapons to throw to. Ryan literally has Ridley and
Gage,
I mean, come on, Gage. Like we like Gage.
Hurst-ish.
And again, I like Hurts, but like Hurts isn't really a threat anymore. Like at this point, like it's really wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2.
But
it could be considered Ridley and Pitts. But look, Boston Strangler, I don't want to like just drop you off. We got to close this show out. We're running a little long.
I agree, but hold on, real quick. Being that your name is Boston Strangler, I'm sure you have an affinity for killing and murder and whatever. I'm sorry, true crime. So going on that route, are we forgetting that Hurst was a backup at one point, and now he's just going to come through and shine like, I don't know, just nobody's expecting it to happen. So he's going to outplay Pitts.
That made no sense. Anyway,
it didn't at all.
So Anthony, sorry, Boston.
Thank you, Boston Strangler. We enjoyed your questions.
Appreciate it, man.
I'll take the under.
But Anthony is not going to be able to jump back on. His power went out. His internet went out, at least. He's had a bunch of tornado watches in his area. I think those are the big storms that kind of moved through our area earlier.
Yep.
So just want to remind everybody, follow him. He is he's at Twitter on, and I gotta scroll up because I don't have the notes up for. Oh, dang it! Where did I put for him? Oh,
thank you, Strangler. I agree.
He's at The Real NFL Guru on Twitter. He writes for Gridiron Experts. He's also a host for the FF Face Off. And so yeah, follow him on Twitter. He does great work. Sorry not to.
Anthony is in with Hayden Hurst. So
yes, yeah, they do a big podcast every year.
Big show for mental health
awareness.
Yeah, mental health awareness.
Good for him.
Gotta check that out. It's there. It's a thing. People are starting to buck the stigma on it, which is awesome. So thank you guys for doing that as well. And thanks for coming on tonight, Anthony. We will catch up soon.
Yep.
We have some conversations to have for our fun 32 teamer.
Oh man, 32 teams, that's rough. All right, man. I think that's it for the show. So I think we're gonna call it a night. And yeah, man. Good talk with everybody, and we'll see you all next week. Oh, actually, speaking of next week, I guess I should let everybody know real quick. Sorry, I just forgot. I'm not here next week, so we're actually pushing Thursday's show to next. You and Jeff can do it without me. You guys can just eat it. I don't care.
I can eat it, but probably the best show of all time.
Oh, like the one I did without you last year around this time. Yeah, how about that one? Anyway, yeah, I won't be here next week. I'm on vacation.
Thanks, Tomlin.
And you remember that. And
I remember.
So we're going to do it on
like
Sunday the 8th instead of
me calling
normally.
CEH.
Shut up, AJ. Damn it. We're doing it on Sunday the 8th. Not that anybody's listening at this point. We're doing it on Sunday, August 8th with Steph Previte I'm glad to have her back on the show to talk about the NFC South. She's a big Panthers fan, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll be doing the next show on Wednesday the 11th because we're going to be jumping out to Canton, Ohio 2 days later, and I'm not trying to be a little tired, on Friday morning trying to drive out to Canton for 5.5 hours. And so we're doing a day early to figure that out and meet you guys all there, hopefully. So I'm done with AJ. I'm cutting this off. Bye. You guys. I'm sorry.